Can someone confirm it if it is visible?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, we can see.
All right, cool. So it starts with the basic intro. We all know, we all of us have basically enrolled for this Coachex, like for these different courses at Coachex. And Coachex, we all know it's a leading online platform that offers various learning programs, and not only the curriculum, like it's not only the, we provide classes in terms of in these courses, we have additional activities apart from, like, as you go through the course, we have different other activities going on in parallel, in the sense like we assist you in resume building, we assist you in interview preparation, placement assistance, and all these things are there. So obviously, since we have already enrolled it, we are aware of this, but just for the sake of explanation, I'm just calling it out. It out. Okay. So coming to me, my name is, let me give you a quick intro of myself. So my name is Palash. I've been into the industry for more than 8 years now. I've been working into the analytics and data science industry both. Like when I say both, it means like I've been working into the data analytics space as well, into the business analytics space as well, and as well as data science space as well. I'm a 2015 graduate, BTech graduate in electronics and communication. I have worked into multiple industry domains, starting with retail-based clients, and then for the 4 years I have worked with pharmaceutical domain clients, and for the past 2 years I've been working into the travel and hospitality industry. So in that sense, yeah, you can say like I have a varied experience as far as the industry domain is concerned. And coming to my skill set, I have kind of worked on variety of these analytical tools, if you call, like SQL, Excel, R, Python, Tableau, Power BI. In some or the other way, I have touched based upon these different tools throughout my journey. Majorly, it has been SQL and Python and Tableau for me, and a bit of a machine learning. So yeah, and like obviously, like I'll not deep dive into the what kind of certifications, but yeah, definitely like I have achieved certifications from various you can say well-known online learning platforms, and within the company, in company learning as well. So yeah, that's a high level intro about me. So I think we can start the session. So just one thing, it's basically whenever you feel like you have any question, just feel free to unmute yourself. And if you are not speaking anything, if you don't have any questions, so I request you to please be on mute so that we can hear out each other. But yeah, just feel free to let's just keep it a little interactive. I just don't want a unidirectional flow, right? Like where I am only speaking and you guys are, just hearing me out and all these things. So I want this to be an interactive session, right? We have all come here to have this experience of the onboarding session. Any doubts, any questions you might have, feel free to ask at any time. But yeah, if you're not having any questions, I'll just request you to be on mute, please. Okay, so coming to the data field, right? It is, as I said earlier, right? We have people here from different courses who have opted for different courses. Some of you might have opted for business analyst. Some of you might have opted for data analyst. Some of you might have also opted for the data science course, right? But the base remains the same, right? Which is what actually the data, which is the main thing that uh people for all these three different courses will be working upon. So a quick question for you guys, as it says, have you ever worked on data? Anyone who would like to unmute himself or herself, please feel free to do that. So the question is, have you ever worked on data? If yes, what kind of, for what reason you worked on it? What was the use case, basically, you can say. Anyone who would like to share his or her experience, please feel free to unmute yourself. Or if you don't want to speak up, you can write down your comments in the chat box as well. I can take a look. Any encounter with data before? Like, have you ever worked in any sort of a data, on any sort of a data? It could be some data in SQL tables, it could be some data on an Excel sheet, It can be anything.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
I work in the Excel sheet.
Can you repeat? Who was it?
Ajay this
Hey Ajay. Yeah. So
is
what was the
I
you?
working on an Excel sheet.
Okay. All right. And Aditya here is saying, I have as a manager in CD Finance, set up some information. Okay. Excel data, internal data. Anirudh is saying, okay. Yeah. So as I told you, right, like the form of data can be anything. Some of you might have worked on an Excel sheet. Some of you might have, if you are already from the data field, some of you might have worked on an SQL, right? So there you would be querying on the data through SQL, right? In some or the other ways, we somewhat interact with data. If there is any person who has not really worked with an Excel sheet as well, but in some or the other way, that person would have also worked with the data in the sense like you would have analyzed something online, right? So that is also, you can say, like you have analyzed something. So it could be the case like someone else would have done the analysis for you, but still you were consuming it in one of the other way, right? So let's suppose you did a random search, right? Like what is the population of this state in India, right? So you are studying also, this is also somewhat, you're not actually working with the data, but you are consuming it also as well, right? In some or the other way. So in some or the other way, in our own capacity, we would have interacted with some data points previously, right? So the idea is the data actually is the basis of any analysis, any work we do in business analyst or data analyst or data science work stream, right? There is no preconceived notion regarding anything that we want to do, any analysis, any presentation, any prediction that we're going to do, data is going to be the base for us, right? So let's see what else we have. So it says how data is created, right? Uh, in this modern era, actually, the data is growing at a at a very rapid pace, right? You can see like there are four mechanisms, four ways in which you can see the data is created. One is through humans. You do a lot of transactions. Those transactions can be anything. You do a lot of activity on social media platforms, like you watch a lot of videos, you like certain videos, you comment on certain videos, right? This is one way of getting the data getting generated. Then you might be ordering a lot of things on Amazon, Blinkit, on all these e-commerce or food delivery apps, right? In that way as well, you are somewhat creating the data. Then machines, these are actually the biggest, one of the biggest sources through which the data is getting created these days. You have a lot of satellite data, you have a lot of sensor data. uh, so different, any type of an automative machine, which is somewhat there in the surroundings and capturing any information, that is also, creating or collecting data in one or the other way. Then human machine combination, where is basically, sorry. So let me put it in this way. Then the human machine combination basically, oh, just give me a second. So the human machine combination in the sense, you use a lot of there is a lot of interaction between you and the software that you are using, right? In some or the other way. uh Take the example where you log in into the website and you want to read something about it, but the website asks you to please register on it first, right? So you are entering your details over there on a software, which can be a UI or an Android app. Other way would be you are filling out some survey over the internet, right? So there is a human to machine or a human to software connection over there. In that way, you are also somewhat creating data. And the other way is basically organization, where you can see a large amount of data being produced in IT and other industries, like transactional data. Take the example of banking data, right? uh, any bank you can consider, there are a lot of transactions which happen both in online and offline mode, right? So data is actually getting created around our surroundings in various different ways. So it's actually, the idea is you should basically realize the importance of data. So if I talk about the fields of business analyst, data analyst, and data scientist, the base thing on which we work is data, right? So if you are able to collect the data and process it accordingly as per your needs, then you are able to generate meaningful information out of it, right? So let's see what this slide says. What is data and why data is important? So you can see a lot of icons being there. So you don't need to refer this in the same manner. But the idea is you have the raw data being getting generated every second, right? Every second, some sort of a data is getting generated. So we are in this session, right? What is the name of the session? It's basically the induction session for the students who have opted course with who have opted these course with Coachex, right? So this is also somewhat a data point. What is the platform of this meeting? It's a Zoom meeting. That's also a data point. Who is the speaker for this? I am the speaker. That's also one of the data points. How many participants are there in this meeting? Maybe 50 plus participants. So that is also one sort of a data point, right? Data can be of any sort. It can be of, it can be structured or it can be unstructured. When I say structured, any sort of a data that you can collect or organize in the form of rows and columns that can be classified as a structured data. So take the example of Excel data, right? How data is stored in an Excel in the form of rows and columns, right? You have columns as the headers, and then you have the main data as rows. Then if you take the example of different databases like Oracle, uh, MySQL Server, Teradata, AWS. So it's okay if you are not able to relate to these terms as of now, but we'll be covering it as part of our course. So in those databases as well, at the back end, the data is stored in the form of tables, and the tables stored the data just like it is stored in Excel, right? So what happens is usually if there's a very the data volume is very low, so we usually store the data in an Excel. You can store it, but we always know like the limit of Excel is like 10 lakh rows. If the volume increases beyond it, Excel can't really store that data. So you need to move to bigger or you can say more powerful systems who have larger data handling capacities. So you move to bigger servers, which are somewhat giving you bandwidth to store the data in the form of tables at the databases, right? So those sort of data, which can be stored in the form of rows and columns, that is called as a structured data. And then there is unstructured data. What is unstructured data? Unstructured data is any data that cannot be stored in the form of rows and columns. So if I give you an example of audio data, right? I'm speaking something over here, right? So this is an audio data. So you cannot store it in the form of rows and columns. Another example of unstructured data is video data. You can see the video on my screen. I'm shifting slides and all these things. So this is an example of video data. Again, obviously, it cannot be stored in the form of rows and columns. Then textual data. So you can see some headers, some descriptions. You can see this line being written. Data is everywhere, every industry and everywhere data is must, right? So this is textual data. Again, you need different methods to store and process information out of it. So this is also an example of uh, unstructured data. So at a very high level, you can classify the data into two parts, structured versus unstructured. But the idea is you need to do few fixed steps on it. First is you need to first correctly store it. Once you are able to store it, you need to understand that data first, at what granularity, what type of information it is storing. Then you need to clean that data. You need to process that data. By cleaning, I means you might want to remove some missing values. You might want to remove some columns which you don't require, which is of no use for you. You might want to filter it as per your own needs as well, right? So once you have the clean data, then you further basically use that data to do further analysis over it, right? You might want to solve some business problems out of it, right? So you will deep dive into it, find insights by finding different patterns. So there can be different ways to find insights. uh, if a data analyst has to find an insight, he might find an insight by creating charts, trend lines, pie charts, and all these things. A data scientist might use the data in a very different way, maybe to solve some predictive or a machine learning problem, right? So if I give you an example, let's take an example of Amazon, right? So Amazon is an e-commerce website which is basically which serves as an online portal where you can buy different products of your own choice. So Amazon as a company, let's suppose, have realized that the sales for mobile phones have gone down in the last 2 months, and they come out to you to solve this problem, right? So if you are a data analyst, you would might want to deep dive into the data and find the proportion or the growth of sales across different customer segments. You might want to see, you first might want to see the growth of mobile phone sales at a country level. It might be the case the sales is going down for a certain country. Then if you get to know, okay, sales is going down for a certain country, is it going down for all the customers or for certain segments of customers of certain age, right? So a data analyst might use this data in this way. If the problem statement was the sales is going down for the mobile phones, and Amazon as an organization has reached out to you to do a prediction that what will be the sales in the next 2 years, right? So you might use that data, the historical data, to forecast sales, to build a machine learning model to forecast sales in the future. So that's how a data scientist might be able to use that data, right? So depending upon the use case, depending upon what actually you're trying to achieve, you generate different insights to solve the problems. And once you have certain recommendations, you generate strategy for the future, right? You give recommendations to the company. A data scientist in this case might give the recommendation to the company that we are forecasting that there will be this decline in the growth will continue for the next 2 years as well, right? So you can take uh, actions accordingly, right? Or a business analyst might give them an information that sales is going down for mobile phones in India. So it can be the case to boost the sales. You can have more variety of mobile phones onto the platform, or you can run different campaigns. You can maybe give the customer more discounts, right? It might be the case some other competitor is generating a lot of sales as compared to Amazon. So let's suppose maybe Flipkart was taking the customer share or was taking the sales of different customers from Amazon to their platform, right? Because there's a lot of competition in India as far as e-commerce space is concerned. So it might be the case you will suggest them that it might happen due to the competition. So you can give them certain discounts and all these things, right? So whatever the insight was, whatever you have basically found out from the data, you give recommendations so that the company can take uh, appropriate next steps or develop strategies to handle that, right? So that is the idea of, that is why the data is actually very important, and this is how it is being used in a certain way, right? You collate the data, you process it as per your needs, then you deep dive into it. You might create charts, some bar charts, trend lines, and all these things. A data scientist might use it for, building machine learning models to create predictions for future and all these things. So depending upon the use case, depending upon what is the problem that you are trying to solve, data can be used in different ways. Okay. But again, the main thing, it's everything on data, right? If the data is not with you, you can't do anything, right? All these things, building machine learning models or bringing, plotting trend charts, pie charts on the data is actually just a process, but you are applying that process onto the data that you have, right? So data is the key eventually, right? And it says like how much data has been created daily, 328.77 million terabytes, right? That is actually a huge amount of data, and you need appropriate sources to first at least store the data, and then you need a different skill set to further clean the data, process the data. Then you might need some other advanced skills to visualize the data or generate or create machine learning models on it, right? So the volume is sort of increasing day by day, and the companies are actually realizing the potential of the data, and that's why the demand for data analysts, business analysts, and data science is actually has been increasing exponentially in the past few years. Okay. Any questions, any doubts till here, guys?
I have one, if you allow.
Yeah.
This is Aditya Plus.
Hey, Aditya.
Yeah, hope you're doing well. So I have one question. It's a bit of a different question. You may not choose to answer also. As you told me that you have expertise, told us that you have expertise in data science field. Why are you not working as a data scientist or data analyst? You have chosen not to.
No, I'm working as a data scientist only. Like, so to be honest, in the industry, these terms are very, there's a lot of dilution these days. So if you talk about data analyst versus a data scientist, so what is actually the expectation in the industry is, if you are a data scientist, you should have the skills of a data analyst as well, right? And also, if you are working as a full-time data analyst in an organization, or maybe if you are working as a, let's suppose you are working as a full-time data scientist in a company, so it is not necessary that every day you will be creating machine learning models. So on an average, in an year, it would be hardly 2-3 projects, or 2-3 times you will be required to create a machine learning model on from the scratch, basically. So most of the times you might be processing the data, you might be doing deep dives, you might be doing some visualization work as well. So I thought you basically mistaken me at the end. So in the starting, but yeah, I am actually working as a data scientist. You can call me as a data scientist or a DA or a BA, but my skill set is actually a mixed bag. So depending upon the needs of the customers, depending upon the client, depending upon needs of the client, I switch my roles accordingly, right? But the idea is,
I think I should. I'm really sorry. I think I should rephrase my question. My question is that, like, whether it's a BA, whether it's a data analyst or a data scientist, for me, it's all the same. You are in the data processing and analyzing domain, right?
no, not
So,
really, not
what
really.
I
They're not.
wanted to know,
Mhm. So your doubt will automatically
now,
get
my question
clarified.
is that,
Yeah, go on.
are you working as a data analyst, scientist, or an engineer, or a processor, or you this role that you have took up, is it like part time? I just wanted to know, completely out of curiosity, as in it generated because I want to know what is the prospect
No,
of
no,
this
I'm
core
working.
that
Yeah,
I have opted. This is the
yeah,
reason
yeah,
why.
yeah. So I'm working as a data scientist slash data analyst slash business analyst in a full-time, as a full-time role in a travel and hospitality space. If that
Okay.
if that answers
And
your question.
you have yes, that kind of partly answers the question for me. And also you are working here as a trainer, right? On
Yeah, yeah,
part time.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, cool. So then moving ahead, what type of roles are there in the data field? So you can see this matrix, you can see the keywords as business analyst, data analyst, business intelligence developer, big data engineer, business intelligence analyst. So I'll give you a quick flavor. What exactly? So some of these roles might be very similar sort of a thing, like might sound very similar to you, but let's just still for to clear your all your curiosity or your whatever like you want to call it. But let me give you just a very high level intro for these different job roles in the market. So business analyst, it is more like a client facing role, where you do your investigation, you do your analysis on the data, and you present your results. You work very closely to the with the business people, or you can say if it is a client service model, if you have good communication skills and you directly work with the clients, you also you somewhat gather the requirements from the clients as well and create the solutions as well. While the data analyst is more like a technical sort of role. Business analyst is also technical, but data analyst is core data specific role where you deep dive into the data, handle huge volumes of data, generate insights. Maybe at some stage you might be creating visualizations as well, right? So data analyst is actually a role which is a little more technical as compared to business analyst, and this person is more into the data sort of thing. And if you talk about data scientist is everything that a data analyst can do, plus the machine learning aspect, right? So a data analyst can work on historical trends, analyzing data through charts, different trend lines, bar charts, and all these things that we talked about, plus the machine learning aspect, where that person is capable enough to build machine learning models to give predictions what's going to happen in the future, so that the company can take proper decision making, so the company can basically proper take decisions as per the recommendations that you have generated through your machine learning models. Then ML ops engineer. ML ops engineer is basically, you can say, a person, once you have created a machine learning model and you deploy it into the production, ML ops engineer basically monitors the health of your model, you can say, and it monitors various other infrastructure aspects as well, like uh, is your model getting enough memory into the system to run daily? So it works as it says, right? ML ops, it is machine learning plus operations. So that person basically operates the quality, or you can say the health of the machine learning model, which is generated in production. Computer vision engineer, it's more into deep learning. These people work properly with unstructured data, which is mostly textual data. Sorry, which is mostly video data or image data. So computer vision engineers are those. NLP, natural language processing engineer. These sort of people are again considered data scientists, but they work mainly with textual data, right? So just to give you an example, you see a lot of tweets on Twitter, right? On different topics. So people tweet, let's suppose they want to say something regarding T20 World Cup. So they will use a hashtag T20 World Cup, right? So they will analyze that textual data over the internet, and they will understand the sentiments of the people. Are they talking good about the Indian team? Are they talking bad about the Indian team, and all these things, right? So mostly these were the very different, I wanted to touch based upon these few things. Then data engineers again. So data engineers are more into creating data pipelines. They are more closer to cleaning your data, and you can say processing your data and cleaning your data and give you a clean data. So once you have the clean data, the data analyst, the business analyst, or the data scientist come into the picture. So these people, data engineers, they work at the back end. They collect the data from different sources, process it, clean it as per your requirements, and then dump it in a final layer, which is exposed to further usage by business analyst or data analyst or data scientists. So that is actually the role of data engineers, right? Moving forward, what are the key roles or skills that are required in the data field? Either if you talk about BA, DA, or data scientist, there's a very huge overlap, as you might have understood when I was explaining these different terms. So if you talk about high level skills for these three job roles, DA, BA, and DS, it's Excel, SQL, which is a language to query data if the data is stored in databases. Then mathematics, statistical analysis, and probability understanding. Data mining, machine learning, and AI for data scientists. Familiarity with Hadoop, again for data scientists and data engineers, sometimes for data analysts as well. Data visualization, mostly for business analysts and data analyst people. Business strategy, mostly for business analyst people. And cloud computing, not much, very less, and mostly Python or R, which is generally used for creating your machine learning models. Okay, so these are the very high
Plus,
level. Yeah.
hello, plus. If I may interrupt here, I have a correct question. Could you please tell me exactly who can opt for the MLOps engineer role?
So, to be honest, there isn't any hard coded educational background required for a person with ML ops, like who cannot, like, there is no criteria as such, but some people who have at least basic knowledge of machine learning and they want to move forward into that, and they really like to work with infrastructures, they like engineering infrastructures like servers, memory usage, and all these things. Those sort of people can apply for ML ops engineers roles, or take those rules first, or understand those rules, or take the course of those rules. So ML ops is actually a one level advanced. So what happens is, so take the example of data scientist, right? So there is a data scientist. That data scientist basically worked on a problem. That person created a machine learning model, and then that person will give the machine learning model to the ML ops engineer. So what ML ops engineer will do? ML ops engineer will deploy your model into production so that it runs daily with proper configuration, with proper memory usage. The ML ops engineer has to make sure that Your model is running daily, every day. It is giving correct results. You need to monitor the performance of the model as well. You need to make sure your model is having appropriate bandwidth, because somewhat these machine learning models in production can take huge obviously they work on huge volume of data, and they might require good amount of memory space or certain CPU power, right? So all these things, the infrastructure things basically. So people who are more into the infra and the technical side of the things are mostly aligned to the MLOps engineer roles. Okay, I hope this answers your question. And don't worry, like I can see a lot of other questions as well. Uh, I'll definitely take the
It's
question.
interactive. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. So again, like I can see a lot of questions coming in. We'll definitely take the question. We'll try to take the questions. So while going through the slide, I'm not able to take the question through the chat. So if you have very immediate question, you can unmute yourself and ask those questions. But if you are not comfortable, not feeling comfortable to ask the questions uh, over mic, then you can wait. We can take the questions at the end through the chat as well. Okay.
Hi, here I have a question. This is Vijay here.
Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, I'm from a non-technical background. So do we need any coding skills required further
No,
or?
I don't think so. I don't think so, to be honest, not at least for DA, DA or DS course, which coacheks have to provide here. So the curriculum is laid out in such a way that we start with the basics, and obviously we have this thing in mind that people are coming from non-tech background as well. So the course is curtailed in such a way that it is easy for the people from non-tech background to grasp the concepts. So I don't think so there is any preconceived requirement or you know a mandatory skill that you should have before beginning with this course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Then what are the things that we have to offer? I guess you guys already have the idea. We have the data science course, we have the data analyst course, business analyst course, AWS cloud practitioner. And if you want to specifically move into the data visualization, so we have a specialized course for data visualization with Power BI and Tableau, which are both the commonly used database tools in the market. So we'll deep dive into these courses as well. What are the different skills? What are the different things we are going to learn as part of these different courses? So let's move ahead quickly. So then at a very high level, what is the difference between DS versus DA and a BI? So what the data analysts do, as I told you earlier as well, they are more into handling huge volumes of data, clean the data, process the data, generate insights by diving deep in the data. So if you go to the bullet points as well, it says data analysts gather, clean, and analyze, visualize, and present existing data to help better inform business decisions, working with business leaders and stakeholders to define a problem, identifying and sourcing data, cleaning and preparing the data for the analysis, analyzing data for patterns and trends, visualizing data to make it easier to understand, and presenting the data in such a way that it tells a compelling story. So these people are more are more closer to the data. Uh, they are more in terms of diving deep into the data. They don't do any predictive sort of a thing as data scientists do. They don't, data analysts do not build any machine learning models as such, right? They can generate or give you static insights. So what are static insights? Static insights are you have the historical data with you. You can deep dive into the data and find interesting patterns, trends out of it, and create a possible story or a presentation if that is enough to answer a business problem, right? So that is what a data analyst do. Then coming to the role of a business analyst, as I told you, there is also a huge overlap between business analyst and data analyst. Uh, in the industry, you will see these two roles being used very commonly or interchangeably. So it might be the case in one company, there are no two different roles. Like there might be only data analyst role, and they would expect you to do the job of a business analyst as well. So if I talk about a specific role of a business analyst, it is business analysts help identify problems, opportunities, and solutions for their organization. They basically do this by evaluating companies' current functions and IT structures, reviewing processes, and interviewing team members to identify areas for improvement, and then presenting findings and recommendations to the management. So they are, you can say, like, although it's a very, like, the overlap with data analyst is very, very huge, but the only distinguishable thing is these people are actually close to the business. They work very closely with the business stakeholders, and they also work on to the similar sort of things like generating insights and presenting findings, but they are more, closer to the business, and they have a very, you can say, good rapport with your business stakeholders, with your senior leadership. And yeah, that's it basically. If you are more comfortable in your communication skills, if you like interacting with people a lot, especially with business specific people, so you can opt for a business analyst role rather than a data analyst role. Okay, so that's a very high level difference between BA or a DA. Then data scientist, as I told you, anything that a business analyst or a analyst can do, data scientists should be able to do. The only additional thing is data scientists are also expected to work on, not expected, actually, it's their main job to build machine learning models as well, right? So a data scientist should know all these skills like SQL, Python, Excel, uh, Tableau, data visualization tools, and in addition to that, the machine learning knowledge as well, right? So as I told one of this student as well earlier, that if you are working as a data scientist in a company, it might not be the case that, and it is obviously not the case that you are working on machine learning models every day. 70% or 60% of the time you will be doing the work of a data analyst as a data scientist in certain companies, right? There might be 30 to 35% where you will be doing actually the work of a data scientist, which is building machine learning models, right? So it depends upon the setup of an organization as well. But again, I'll repeat myself. If you are a data scientist, it doesn't mean that every day you are working on machine learning models, right? So most of the time you might be cleaning the data, you might be presenting insights, you might be doing the work which is similar to a data analyst. But a time can come suddenly where you are expected to work on a certain business problem, which requires the usage of creating a machine learning model. So at that time, you should have the sufficient enough skills to, build upon those models. Okay. Any questions still here, guys? Any difference between anyone still being confused, like what is the difference between a BA versus DA versus a data scientist?
May I?
Yeah, sure.
So, how one data scientist is required to present the insights of a data? Could you please give us some sort of an example? Like what are the
So,
things that you
hmm,
basically, or tools that you basically use, and how you present the insight of the data mostly?
yeah. So when I talk about insights, insights are not only numbers, right? So if I'll give you one example, let's suppose, uh, let's take an example which a data analyst and let's take a problem statement where a data analyst can also solve it and data scientist can also solve it. So let's take the example from the travel and hospitality domain as well. Expedia Group, there's this company called Expedia.
Yes.
So these companies basically have short-term rentals on their platform for the guests to book in. So these short-term rentals are actually called as listings or properties, you can assume. So let's take an example in London, in 2021, in Q1, Expedia onboarded 5,000 new listings onto their platform. And after 1 year, in 2022 Q1, they realized out of those 5,000 listings, only, let's suppose, 20% of the listings, which is like 10,000 listings, got their first booking, right? So 80% of the listings didn't even get their first booking within 1 year. So the problem statement for the business here would be what are the factors which are differentiating this 20% listings who got their first booking versus the listings who didn't, the 80% listings who didn't get a booking in the first year, right? So if you will give this problem to a data analyst, that person, how that person will solve it. So that person will basically collect different attributes, different data points, such as what is the price of the listing, what is the location of the listing, what is the availability of the listing, what is the maybe occupation of the host. The host is basically the person who has rented out the listing onto the platform. How far or near the listing is as compared to the airport or main city points. Uh, what are the different amenities, which are basically the facilities provided by which are in the listings, right? So then that person will basically see, okay, uh, is the booking, is the first booking ratio good for low price listings versus high price listing? It That person will calculate this proportion for these different cuts that I talked about you. What is the percentage? What is the percentage of listings who got a booking for low price listings versus high price, for good amenities versus bad amenities, uh, for maybe then you can say the listings which are closer to airport versus the listings which are farther from the airport, and all these things, right? So you will generate static insights, like you will create charts, bar charts, graphs, and all these things, and then present your results. If you'll give the same problem to a data scientist, that data scientist will basically convert it into a machine learning problem. And how it will convert it, how that person will convert it, they will basically convert it into the sense like they will try to see the relationship between these dimensions, these attributes that I talked about, price, amenities versus the probability of the listing getting booked, right? He or she will run a machine learning model at the back end and will come up with the top features, which is boosting the probability of getting the listing its first booking, right? And then he or she will present the insights. That person will talk about, okay, I ran this model, I got this was the accuracy of my model. I'm 70% sure that this is actually happening. So you will be presenting your results with more confidence, right? In that case. So that is the idea. The data analyst at one end is just, you can say, generating static insights, while the data scientist basically used a machine learning model. So both the person will use, you can say like both the person, data analyst or the data scientist, might use Python in this case. So the technology remains same. The data analyst will also use Python, or maybe he'll use SQL. And the data scientist also can use SQL or Python for preparing the data. And then finally will use Python or R to build the machine learning model, right? So depending upon your skill set, depending upon how you look at the problem, how much confident, how precise or concise you want the results to be, you can take the respective route. I hope it answers your question. Sorry, I forgot the name, but that this is actually a fair example. Yeah. Does it answer your question? Hello.
Completely. Thank you so much for that.
All
Yes,
right.
yes.
Cool. So now coming to the roadmap, we talked about different things, right? What we are gonna learn, what all things, what all skill set, what all concepts we're gonna learn as part of this course. So if I talk about the roadmap for data science, it is gonna be Excel. We'll start with Excel, then we'll move to SQL, then data visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI. Then we'll learn about Python. We'll start with basic OOPS concept, data structures and algos, and then the major Python libraries, NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib, which is essential for data analysis. Then we'll go to data pre-processing and statistics. So all these things, Excel, SQL, data viz, Python, data pre-processing, and statistics, it is going to be common for all the three courses, which is business analyst, data analyst, and data scientist. So then if your course is data scientist, once we are done with these things, then we'll go to the additional things, which is machine learning, deep learning, AI, NLP, time series, and then it will be followed with dummy projects. Okay, so that's how the path of the roadmap for data science course looks like. It starts with uh, laying down the foundation. Once, when I say laying down the foundation, I mean laying down the foundation of understanding the data, handling the data, and processing the data. So Excel, SQL, and Python usually are used for data processing. You can use data visualization or Python again for presenting insights, generating charts, and then finally you have stats, which has its own rules. When you will um, get to get into the course, you will realize the importance of statistics as well. We talk about means and averages and medians. And then if it is a data science course, we'll dive deep into machine learning, deep learning, AI. NLP stands for natural language processing, which basically helps us to deal with textual data. Time series modeling is used for forecasting, and then it is going to be followed by different capstone projects, hands-on projects to further improve your knowledge on all these concepts that we're going to learn as part of this course. Okay. Then coming on to the roadmap of a data analyst. So as I told you, it's going to be only this: Excel, SQL, database, Python, data preprocessing, and statistics, which is the top row of your data science course as well. So data analyst roles, basically it's going to be involving all these 4, 5, 6 modules at a very high level. And then for BA, it's again the same thing: Excel, SQL, database, Python, data preprocessing, and stats, plus followed by some BA specific things, which is fundamentals of business analytics, planning requirement, managing requirements, eliciting requirements, defining analytics requirements, use case essentials and modeling, user acceptance testing, which is UAT. So I'll not deep dive into these things. These few things are actually specific to a business analyst role. But at a very high level, I can give you an idea is to create plans of the deliverables, gathering the requirements, documenting them, getting a sign off from the client. And once you deliver the project or the product, doing a UAT, which is called as user acceptance testing, to make sure that the product or the project that you have worked upon is actually as per the needs of the clients, right? So these are some additional skills apart from the DA skills that we talked about. So DA is only the common part. The additional part for data science is the machine learning thing. And the additional part for business analyst is your client facing roles, documentations, requirement gathering, and UAT, which is user acceptance testing. Okay. Any questions, guys, still here from the course curriculum point of view? We talked about the roadmap for data science, for data analyst, and business analyst. All right, I'll take it as a no then. Then why? So for machine learning specifically, right? We can build models on R or Python, but for this course, we are specifically going ahead with Python. The reason being, first, it is actually a multi-purpose language, and you might require the need of Python in some advanced models which is not supported by R. Also, it is more easy. Again, the major for me, the major you can say the reason for choosing Python is also the demand in the market these days. I know there are a lot of job opportunities for people who work on R, but it's more of from a like R is somewhat obsolete, you can see. The demand for Python is actually very it's growing actually very rapidly. Python is having a very, you can say, huge support community as well. It supports all of the machine learning models, even the advanced ones. There can be some ML models which are not supported by R. So that is the reason we are going forward with Python. So both of these languages, Python or R, can be used for building machine learning models, but we are going to move ahead with Python. And the same, both again, Python and R can be used for data manipulation as well, but we are going to use Python only for data manipulation or machine learning model, anything. Then coming to the fact of day-to-day responsibility of a data analyst. Yeah.
Please tell me about the what is the R. We have understand the Python, but can't understand about the R.
So
Please.
R is also a statistical language, which can be used to handle your data, to manipulate the data, to process the data. And it can also be used to create charts as well. You can also, so it is a you can say it is a software programming language, just like Python. It can be used for statistical analysis. It can be used for data handling, processing your data, cleaning your data. You can also create charts in R. You can also create machine learning models in R. So it is somewhat similar. Even the syntaxes for data handling is somewhat similar to Python. But since Python is, having a more, you can say better adaptability as far as integration of data with different other data sources and the support with machine learning models is concerned, that's why we're going ahead with Python. But R is also a similar sort of language where you can do these things basically. But it's more obsolete now. It's having less job opportunities in the market. So we are going ahead with Python.
I have a question. So in this course, do we learn both or only Python?
We're gonna learn Python only.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to this day-to-day responsibility of a data analyst, you need to gather the data from different sources. A data might be coming from an Excel sheet, a data might be coming from a SQL, a data might be coming from a SAP system, Salesforce. So there can be different data sources from where the data might be coming. You need to gather the data from all these external data sources. You need to clean it as per your own requirements, massage the data. You might want to transform it. When I say transform, clean, everything comes into processing. Then the other things would be, once you have the clean data with you, you create reports out of it, find insights, collaborate with people, and generate some business decisions. So that's what a day-to-day responsibility of a data analyst looks like. Again, a typical example I can give you. Suppose you are working in a product-based company. Again, let's take the example of Expedia. You're working for them somewhat. Let's suppose one business person reach out to you, and that person will say, okay, can you give me the uh, year-to-year growth of number of bookings in India in the last 5 years, right? So that sort of requirement can come to you. In that case, what you will do, you will first understand what is actually the requirement of the person who has reached out to you. You will collect the relevant data for that. You will clean it. When I say clean it, you might want to apply the filter for country as India. You will process it depending upon your requirement and then might create some charts or tables for the person who is basically requested you to pull that data, right? So that is a very typical day-to-day responsibility of a data analyst. Then data scientist, again, these are somewhat uh, uh, repetitive slides. Just remember the same thing. Anything that that a data analyst can do, a data scientist should be able to do that. The only additional thing is the knowledge of machine learning, AI, and deep learning. That's it. So you can get again the similar request that you got as a data analyst. You can get the same request of pulling the data as a data scientist as well. You might get a request to build predictive models. You might get a request to build data visualizations, right? You might get a request to create reports as well. So you need to be very flexible in that case. Any sort of request can come to you. You cannot demand to the business or the company that you cannot say that I only want to work on machine learning. I am a data scientist and I only want to work on machine learning. No, it doesn't happen like that, right? Any sort of a request, either it's a
I
very
have a
small,
doubt.
yeah,
Would we be learning machine learning in the data analyst course, or it is just for data science course?
it is just for data science.
Okay.
So you can see this, the data analyst one. So we have Excel, SQL, database, Python, and data pre-processing and stats. The additional part from data science was this thing, which is machine learning, deep learning, AI, NLP, time series, and projects. So machine learning will not be covered as a data analyst course.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Cool. Again, then a typical responsibility of a business analyst, somewhat similar to data analyst, but it is more, as I told you, it involves a lot of collaboration with business peoples, product owners as well. You might need to have meetings with them, understand their business problems, document them, generate a layout. Okay, we want to do this. Then you will also have to work on the solution and then finally discuss the results with them. Then coming to the career opportunities and salaries, again, a lot of people might be interested on it. This is some general data that we have collated from the market. Average salary for data scientist in India, 6 lakhs, roughly 7 lakhs per annum. So again, it's an average salary, and average can be skewed, right? So people who are, who are in the initial stage of their career, like let's suppose 3-4 years, there will be a lot of people who are in their initial careers versus the volume of people will be very, not very low, but still low, who are 10 plus years of data scientists, right? So that's why this number is skewed. When I say skewed, it means the number is diluted because of the low, initially low salaries for people who are into their first or two years of their careers, right? So there will be a lot of people who are in their first to 3 years of careers. So obviously they'll be having little lower packages as compared to people who are more than 10 or 15 years of experience. So this is just an average number, which is 7 lakh per annum. But if you'll ask my personal opinion, this might be more than that these days. I don't know. Is it last year's data or what? But it's going to be now somewhat closer to 10 lakhs per annum. Then average data engineer salary, it's around 8.4 lakhs per annum. Then average data analyst salary is 4.3 lakhs per annum. So again, similar sort of thing, where there is a demand for data analyst or data scientist or business analyst. It is actually related to the increasing amount of data being created, and also the companies realizing the potential of data, right? The data is increasing day by day. That is okay, right? But what if you don't want to do with this? Like you don't want to do anything with that. So then it's of no use for you, right? But in the past few years, the organizations have also, or the companies have also realized the importance of data, the power of data, in terms of what kind of analysis, what kind of hidden patterns that you can generate from the data using this ever increasing data, right? So the data is increasing, the companies are realizing potentials. So data is increasing, you need people to handle the data, you need people to process the data, you need people to give insights, you need people to generate reports, you need people to build predictive models. So that's why the demand is also increasing. That is actually correlated basically. Right, similar sort of slides. I'll not deep dive into it. Then again, which companies hire these data analyst experts? So these are your top service-based companies. You talk about Accenture, TCS, EY, Amazon, HSBC, Genpact, Capgemini. And then apart from these, we have the product-based companies as well, which hire for these. So you will mostly see service-based companies over here. And then we have few companies which are pioneers in analytics only. So if you talk about Tiger Analytics, Absolute Data, McKinsey, American Express, Mu Sigma, Fractal Analytics, Cartesian Consulting, right? So these companies are actually consulting companies, or you can say management consulting companies who provide analytical solutions. So they deal specifically into analytics only. So if you talk about TCS, right? TCS might be working in different spaces, like building websites for its customers, for its clients, building Android apps, building other sort of software solutions. But these companies like Tiger Analytics, Absolute Data, Mu Sigma Analytics, Fractal Analytics, they are their main service, you can say area for focus of services, data analytics only, data analytics and management consulting. So you have general companies, general IT companies like Accenture, EY, TCS. Then you have core analytics companies like Tiger Analytics, Absolute Data, Mu Sigma, Fractal Analytics. And then you have product-based companies as well, which hire for data analysts. Like any product, you can think of any product-based company, and they would be having somewhat either small or a big analytics division. If you talk about Swiggy, Zomato, Ola, Uber, anything, any app, right? You just open your mobile phone, you can see a lot of apps in your mobile phones, right? All those companies would be having their somewhat some sort of a analytics division associated with them. If you talk about Amazon, Flipkart, Mintra, Citibank, anything, all of them would be having their analytics division somewhat. So apart from these core analytics companies, you have the product-based companies as well, which are hiring for these particular job roles. Okay, then why Coachex? So as I told you, we follow a very structured and a well-curated curriculum. The things that we have kept in mind while creating this course is actually related to, as some of you are also asked this, like I'm from a non-tech background, do I need a specific coding experience or any specific skill before that? So no, if you wanna, and you have already enrolled it with the Coachex platform, we take care of all these things. And it's not just only the theory classes. So we have those theory classes, we have the certification program, we have the doubt sessions, we have the recordings, we have placement assistance, we have resume building classes as well. We help you to set up your Git profiles as well, right? So it's an end-to-end journey, right from getting enrolled to getting your foundation being created initially through theoretical classes. Then once we feel that we are jumping modules from SQL to XM, there will be frequent assignments and projects to help you with. And then once you have any doubt sessions, like once you are not able to clear, or you have certain doubts regarding few topics, we have regular doubt sessions as well. And once you are around the 80 or 75, 90% completion of your course, we side by side start the placement training and interview preparation classes and resume building classes as well. So it's everything. Let's see what all we have. We have LMS and how to access the LMS.
Uh, this is Vijay here. I have a question on the certification part.
Yeah.
So what kind of certification is that, and how valid is that in the market?
Okay. Hitesh, if you are there, would you like to answer it? Can you take up this for me?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we in total provide all 6 certificates. Per module, there will be different certificate. So Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, and Python. For data analytics, this 5 module specific plus the course specific, which is the complete data analytics certification. We will provide. These are the ISO certificates, which are globally acceptable.
For business analysis, which certificate will you provide?
Sorry?
For business analyst, which
Yeah, so
certificate?
these are all certificates plus business analytics certificate we will provide you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
business analytics is combination of data analytics plus business analytics. So you will get both additional certificates.
Do we need to give any exams?
Yeah,
for this
you need to complete all of your assignments, all of your projects, and you need to clear your mock interview.
Okay, so after that we'll be getting the certificates.
Yes.
So my question is like for a fresher with a career gap of 4 to 5 years,
Mhm.
so what would you recommend, like a business analyst or data analyst?
I think Palash sir will be able to answer this. He is already working in the industry.
Yeah. Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yes. So with a career gap of 4 to 5 years and from a mech department, so would it create any impact on the interview?
Not really. So you can go for either of them, BA or DA. The only difference is, like as I told you in the beginning, if you like interacting with people, if you want to really brainstorm on solutioning part with your business stakeholders, you can go for the BA course. But if you are not really a people's person and you're not much into talking and are more, you have a more inclination towards technology, so you can go for a DA course. But it's not the case like if you have gone for the DA course and you have worked as a data analyst in the market, you can switch roles easily going forward in your careers, right? So there's a huge overlap as I told you in the initial few minutes of the this session. So, but the idea is, if you like interacting with people, if you like collaborating with people, if you like brainstorming on certain business problems, you can opt for BA role. If you are more towards technology, want to get your hands a lot dirty, so you can go for the DA course. But again, as I mentioned, going forward as well, you can switch roles easily because there's a 80% overlap, to be honest. So yeah, I hope this answers your question.
Yes, I
Okay.
have one more
The previous
questions on the recordings, and the last question would be on the placement. So these two questions I have.
Okay, let's do one thing. Maybe let's complete this. We have few slides remaining, and then we can take this
Sure,
through.
sure. Okay, thank you.
All right, no worries. Cool. So there is this centralized LMS tool. LMS stands for Learning Management System, which is just like a Coachix provided UI, which will act as your central repository to access all those recordings and all those assignments and questions that will be given to you. So it's actually equivalent to any repository, any website, basically a central repository for Coachix, where you will interact, you will have your profile set up over there. You can access the recordings and assignments and questions. Everything can be done from that. So how will you be able to access it? How to access the LMS recordings given below. There's a link for this. You can directly go through it. You would be required to register yourself with your email IDs. After getting recordings on your email, log in with your username and password. So it's just a typical process as you do on any website. You will be required to change your password for security reasons, and all the notes and assignments will be uploaded under the LMS with the session recordings. And yeah, this is the important point. The recordings will be available to you in the next few hours after the live session. And you can access these recordings, I guess, yeah, like even after 2 years of completing this course. So it will be active, like this portal will be active for you. You will be having access for 2 years even after completing the course, right? And then talking about the uh, timelines for the classes, we have Saturday Sunday batch, morning and evening. Morning would be 7:30 a.m. till 10 a.m. and the evening batches would be 7:30 p.m. till 10 p.m., like 2.5 hours for both morning and the evening batch. And then doubt solving sessions, we have, like, it's again the same thing. It will be from 8 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. And yeah, like there'll be again people from industry experts. They will be there to solve your doubts. So we'll be having regular doubt sessions. Once you have, like, after your week, it's done, the Saturday Sunday batches, then we'll be having frequent doubt sessions after those weekend classes. And how to submit your assignment. So you will be given assignments and projects again onto the,
daily basis.
yeah, sorry, is anyone having any question?
Dow session is on daily basis of 8 to 9:15 p.m. So sorry, 8 to 9:15 a.m. on daily
uh
basis.
Doubt sessions will be from 8 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. I think Renu or Hitesh can confirm.
Yeah. 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 Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Yes. And then it is in a daily basis. Okay. From Monday to Friday, from 8 p.m. to 9:15 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And then how to submit your assignments. It's basically, you need to basically submit on the LMS portal itself. Some Google Forms will be shared to you and you can just use that. And then there will also be a Telegram group where you can, help each other out. As like, the idea is to have a co-learning environment from where, you can chat with other people if you want to discuss something with other persons, with other peer learners. If you have any doubts, any questions, if you want to talk among each other, you can have like we'll be having a community Telegram group as well to achieve that sort of thing. Okay, then there will be obviously, if you are interested in generating, I think we encourage all of you to create a GitHub profile as well. So if you're not aware what is GitHub, so GitHub is basically a central repository where you can share your codes, whatever work that you have done in the analytics space with other people. If you want to share it with other people, you can showcase your work with the help of GitHub, which acts as a central coding repository. So we'll be assisting you to create your GitHub profile, how you can create an account on GitHub and move your code, whatever work you have done on GitHubs, like all your assignments, or if you have done any capstone project or any, uh, any sort of a dashboarding work that you have done, any sort of a machine learning model that you done, and you are interested in showcasing. One advantage is usually once you have the GitHub profile, you also like the idea is to share that GitHub profile as part of your resume, right? It's always a good thing. So the interviewer can directly go to your GitHub profile and see the amount of work, the different type of work that you have done. So you might be showcasing few dashboards, you might be showcasing machine learning models, some statistical analysis that you might have done as part of your GitHub profile. And then we'll be having regular capstone projects as well. So for the data scientist, data analyst roles, we have 4 live projects. One is on Twitter stock market analysis, one is on A/B testing, one is on visualizations, and 2 games building. Okay, let's see what all other things we have. Then for data scientist as well, we have these sort of projects. One project would be on classification, machine learning models. One would be on NLP, which is sentimental analysis. One project would be on regression analysis. So again, these words might be, might overwhelm you a bit, like what is regression, what is classification. So this is also one sort of a machine learning model. This is also one sort of a machine learning model. Sentiment analysis, usually based upon NLP. Then forecasting projects, the time series analysis, where we talked about, right, in the course, where you can see in this bracket, you had the time series analysis block, which is usually the forecasting thing. So here you can see, right, the time series modeling. This is basically forecasting. Sentiment analysis is your NLP. And then there will be 2 projects under machine learning, classification and regression. So that's how the breakup is going to be for the live projects for data scientists. Right. So, and then let's see what else we have. Yeah. So Hitesh, if you want to take over from this, feel free to do that. We have 1 or 2 slides. Anything extra? Like we have already talked about this. So at a very high level from the placement activities, we have we'll be having, like, once your placement classes will be started, there will be a proper placement introductory sessions as well, where you will be assisting you to set up your LinkedIn profiles, resume making guidance, interview preparations, and mock interviews and placement assistance, as I told you earlier. But for each of these individual blocks, we'll be having individual classes, and we'll be basically guiding you accordingly as per the session agenda.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Could you explain what is that capstone project?
So
mean?
capstone project, the idea, so it's just a name, capstone project. So idea is so there are, let's take the example of data science, right? So in data science, we had machine learning, NLP, time series, forecasting. So
You're not sharing anything here.
yeah, I'm not sharing. I'm just voicing it over. So, okay, let me share it. I'll just show you. Okay. So if you will look at the curriculum for specifically data science. So these are actually major chunks, right? So this is actually one big module, one sub part of data science, machine learning. So there will be one, when I say capstone project, it's just like a dummy project, you can assume, which will help you to understand that concept. So there will be one project on classification models and one projects on. So at a very high level, machine learning models are divided into 2 parts, supervised machine learning and unsupervised machine learning. So will be majorly focusing on the two subparts of supervised machine learning, which is classification and regression. So it would be a proper uh, real-time industry-specific project. So you will get a feel of you are working on a real-time analysis. So you will be given a problem statement. You will be given a dummy data with that, and then you will be asked few questions on it, right? So the idea would be you will act like you are working on a project, on a real-time project. So you will be given a problem statement, you will be given the data to support that, and you will be required to build up a machine learning model on it, and then finally come up with your insights deck or final presentation. So it's going to be projects on those sorts. So there'll be one project on NLP forecasting and two projects on machine learning. So the idea is to give you real-time feel of like as if you are working on in a real-time industry, but obviously the data will not be real-time. It will be somewhat like a dummy data sort of a thing that you can assume. But yeah, that's what the idea is.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, so my question is, what's the placement ratio of the previous batches? Like all of them have got placed?
Okay, Hitesh, over to you. Maybe you can take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be 100% placement assistance provided by the coaches. Okay.
Yeah, placement assistance is 100%. Ratio of placement is 80%. 8 out of 10 students get placed. The remaining 2 students are struggling with the projects, assignments. They're not able to get the time due to their work pressure. Most of the students we have is like working professionals. So definitely they will get placed, but once they are like done with their hands-on experience.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, about the placement, I have a question. So I just, when we went through the slides, we
Mm-hmm.
found that the average salary of a data analyst is 5 lakh approximately.
Yeah, it is the
But if
lowest
I have,
minimum possible. It depends
but,
on the skills you develop.
but if I have already experience and I am already earning more than that, so
Uh, do you have a
I cannot
relevant
use.
experience?
No, I don't have a relevant experience.
Still, you wouldn't be considered as a fresher. Industry experience would be taken under consideration.
Okay.
What would be the average package for data analyst course if we are a fresher?
Yeah, as we said, it is 4 to 5 lakhs minimum.
Yeah.
With
On your
MNCs or for the startups?
It
Depends.
depends upon your company. Okay.
Yeah.
Which company you are approaching. It will be
Okay.
between 4.5 to 12 LPA. Okay. And what are the interviews has gone to the particular company and how you have given, what are the skills you have acquired. Depending on all that, your package will be based.
So as a fresher, we are eligible to apply to MNCs.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
And for startups, it's generally more than that. So usually this 4 to 5 lakhs is generally for IT service-based companies, because this is a market-specific number. And most of the people are usually like, if you'll take the ratio of people working in IT service-based MNCs companies versus startups, so the people will be more in the IT service model. So that's why this, again, it's this average a bit skewed. So if you get an opportunity for a startup, obviously the package will be more than that.
Hi, Palash. I have one
Palash?
question for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
Tarun.
every company have a BA, and every company have a BA in different suppose insurance, e-commerce, and social. So as per your capstone project, we are not getting any project in this domain. Could you please specify for this?
So I haven't really looked at the projects, but the idea would be to give you different sort of flavors. So one project will be on banking, the other project might be on telecom, the other project might be on e-commerce. Maybe Hitesh can
Yeah.
carry more on this.
So, Tarun, you have a very number of projects. Okay, it will be based on the business analytics also. Okay, so you're going to get a projects on the financial domain. Okay, you'll solving the lots of use cases for the business analytics. Okay, there will be a use cases on the retail industries, on the manufacturing industries. Okay, traveling industries, and different other domains. Okay, so the important part is your use cases. How many use cases you have solved? Because whenever you are entering for the business analytics interview, okay, they will going to deal with a very different kinds of scenarios. Okay, rather than going for core technical skills, they will look out the basic upper part of your particular scenario, how much you know about the domain, because business analytics deal with the mostly domain specific part, right? Suppose you are coming from the finance domain, so they will going to give you the scenario based on the finance, and they will ask the solution, what sort of solutions you can able to give us. Okay, so that type of going to build there. Okay.
Okay. One more
So I
thing.
have a question. So can this be applied on any of the domains is what I want to understand.
Yeah, definitely. The idea and the scenario which we're going to discuss and you're going to means solve in this particular project, it is going to apply on all the different domains. Means you can
Because
use
I basically come from a supply chain domain, so I can implement whatever the learnings in the supply chain also,
yeah,
right?
definitely. You can use that particular approach, right? If you have understand the whole one kind of a structure, that particular structure you can apply in other things.
Okay, yeah, got it.
So the base remains the same, Vijay, right? Like base is your understanding of data and then how comfortable you are to apply the tools on the data, right?
Yeah,
Then
got
is
it,
your
got it.
business understanding.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah.
See, guys, the data domain is like how you are able to find the insights from that particular data. Okay, either you are using the machine learning models, deep learning models. Okay, you are using the different analytics skills. What sort of presentations and different types of frameworks you are using. The main idea and the major motto of the particular data domain, okay, and the analytics domain is to gain the insights. Okay, which is very useful for the particular business to grow.
Yes, got that. Thank you.
How many projects we are getting for the practice purpose?
For the practice purpose, you can have around 4 to 5 projects for each module. Okay, 4 to 5 means some 4 projects we have taken from the Excel. In Excel, in that 4 projects, you are dealing some finance domain, you are doing some supply chain, you are dealing some health industry, you are dealing for HR analytics. Okay, then you're going to have some 2 to 3 projects on SQL. You're going to create some kind of a management system or database systems. We're going to handle the different databases and how you can do the data modeling and all that part in the SQL. Then you have a different particular project on the Power BI as well as on Tableau. Okay, you'll have 2 projects on Tableau and the 4 to 5 projects on Power BI. Okay, how you can gain the insights by building the dashboards and how you can able to gain the particular different scenarios. Then you have lots of projects on Python because you're going to do with so many EDA analysis and you're going to develop a one code system with the help of Python code also. Okay, and around 10 to 12 EDA analysis we're going to do with the Python.
Okay.
So you have a various numbers of projects.
Okay, that project exactly same as like that work is going into the industry, or it is like only for the
whatever means the industry has been worked upon. Okay, so the past projects, just recent projects of the industries which has been given because the recent data and the latest data can be provided by the company, right? So whatever the past data we have, depending upon that, we build the project.
Okay. So after our one module get completed, after that we can practice ourselves, as like I can find it out one particular segment and I can practice on that segment.
Yes, you also can do that, and the trainers also will going to guide you upon that. Okay, how you can make your projects, and definitely the trainers also going to give you the projects, hands-on projects on the session only. So there will be a separate session for the project in by the trainers. Okay, the last session when you are going to complete your whole modules. Okay, the last session will be the project one.
Okay.
You're going to get a guidance of it. Okay.
Recording will be there after the sometimes somebody missed the lecture.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to get all the recordings in your LMS. Okay, guys, you all have your LMS access in your email ID. Okay, so you can log into the LMS and access your recordings and everything, your files, like your assignments, then your notes, everything will be updated on your LMS. Okay, so be active on your LMS as well in Telegram too, because you're going to get a recording session link in Telegram. Okay, you're going to get notes or some files which is used to work in the particular session. And all the things you're going to get in the Telegram and the LMS. So you have to active in both the things as well as the email.
Okay. As a BA, we can select any specific domain for. Yeah, you will provide domain.
Depends upon the company. Depends upon your domain experiences or past experiences you have.
Supposedly I'm from IT fields and working as a 5 year as a business developer manager. So I would like to interest for insurance, but you didn't mention in your capstone in as a insurance project.
So okay. Means you are interested in insurance, right?
You can suppose.
Definitely we can provide the projects for regarding the insurance also. Okay, if you wanted to
Okay.
work in the action, so we can provide the project for the insurance.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, Kiran?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm working with the procurement and logistic part, and I have around 13 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is this my experience will count in this course?